Hey, sexy people, Taylor Sparks here, Mariposa Aki. And today we're talking about setting boundaries. And this is coming from an excerpt from my book, An African American Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy, the how, why, and with whom to explore your expanding love styles or relationship styles. So I gave you the five types of ethical non-monogamous relationships. There are more, but I gave you the five main ones, how they function, and kind of a baseline understanding of each one and the differences between them. But I also want to talk about setting boundaries. It's one of those things that come up a lot when people are transitioning in or transitioning through ethical non-monogamy. So some of the benefits of setting your boundaries, it's one way to protect your mental health, your well-being. It's another way to establish clear expectations and limits, and then of course prioritizing your time, and it helps to build trust within the relationship. Um, as well as safety and respect. That's also something that's going to be built when you set your own boundaries. So you have your own boundaries, right? They could be emotional, physical, sexual, intellectual, and financial. And then your partners will have their own boundaries. So within the relationship, when you decide to open your relationship or transition into ethical non-monogamy, you want to make sure that you're setting boundaries and not borders. A lot of times people set boundaries with the thought that they're going to protect the relationship. And when my husband and I transitioned into ethical non-monogamy so many years ago, we had like so many boundaries. I mean, like we couldn't have relations with anyone in the whole state of North Carolina. The whole state was off limits. No family members, no coworkers, no no hotel staff because we both were traveling, working. Always use protection, always know where each other is, and who you're with, and that you're safe. If you're going to have relations, you had an hour. Don't know where we got this time limit from and why we put up a time limit, but we had this time limit, and it was a lot. And a lot of times, as I mentioned, you set these boundaries thinking you're going to protect the relationship because, Lord forbid, if your partner runs off and falls in love with someone. And I tell a lot of people, no one can steal somebody that doesn't want to go. And you cannot make someone stay that is ready to leave. There's nothing you can do about it. People fall in love with other people all the time and leave people all the time without having fallen in love with someone else. So it's not because you are ethically non-monogamous that your relationship is in more detriment of your partner catching feelings for someone. And it's not even the feelings. We are emotional beings. We are going to have emotions. So trying to say don't have any emotions is controlling. It's not setting a boundary. So the difference between a boundary and a border, and a lot of people set borders, I want you to think of a border as the cement walls in the canal that the boat goes through under the bridge. And your boundary is more fluid, meaning it's more fluid like the shoreline, on the lake or the beach. It's going to ebb and flow depending on the situation. And what you want to establish with your partner is the knowledge and the thought process and respect for each other. And respect, of course, is one of those terms that's very subjective, but saying to each other that, okay, these are the boundaries that we set. But I trust that if you need to do something that you think is best for you, I'm asking that you at least consider me. But these are our boundaries. I don't expect my partner to stop in the middle of everything and wait, I got to call my partner because this is a boundary. Is this something that you believe you really got to do? Now, mind you, I'm not saying if you fall into someone's panties and the boundary is not to be, you might not want to do that. If you just take a moment and go, how is my partner going to feel about this if I cross this boundary? As opposed to borders. Do I need to take a minute and maybe make a call if we're not together, or have a conversation about what I'm thinking about doing? And when you set the boundaries, don't try to set them in cement like borders. Give yourself room that in a year or 6 months or 2 years or 4 years, you're going to be different. You're going to feel different. You're going to have had different experiences, and things are going to change. So don't be like, well, 15 years ago, we set a boundary that we would not talk to outside people when we were home together. We would only do that if we were on a trip or an event. It's been 15 years, like nobody's going anywhere, and why do you care? So think about when you're setting that, when you sit down with your partner to set the boundaries, set the expectations. Believe that your boundaries will be expected and accepted. Learn to negotiate and compromise. In ethical non-monogamy, there's a lot of negotiation, because you might be like, hey, I don't want to kiss other people. And your partner will be like, that's all I want to do. I haven't kissed anybody new in like 12, anybody different in like 12 years. I really don't even want to have sex. I just want to kiss people. Like, well, I don't want to kiss people. Well, you don't have to kiss people. I want to kiss people, and we're not attached at the hip. So negotiation and compromise, and unwinding the monogamous mind that your partner must do and say everything that you wish upon them, or somehow you were being disrespected. That is not the case. But saying no is an emotional boundary. No is a complete sentence. If you have something that you're just like, I just can't. I do believe that no one should move faster than the slowest person in the relationship. But if you're the slowest person in the relationship, it doesn't mean you get to hold your cards to your chest for a year or two. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. You are responsible for your own emotions, and you are responsible to get ready. If that makes sense, right? So your partner wants to take, you want to take each other into consideration, their emotions. What is a boundary? Is it something triggering? Is something traumatizing? But compromise, negotiate, and communicate. Be specific. Like I said, you can't say, well, I don't want you to do that, or because I feel disrespected. Because what's disrespectful to one person is not disrespectful to another. Know your partner's intentions. Are they intentionally trying to hurt you? Or is it something that they really need, want, and desire? And you're like, because I don't want it, you shouldn't have it. And that's not, it works that way a lot in monogamy with some couples, but in ethical non-monogamy, that's, you have to have a better compromise than that. And then active listening. When your partner feels very strongly about a particular boundary, and you volley this ball over the net, take a few moments and just listen. Don't mentally argue. Don't be like trying to jump in and justify why you should be able to not have this boundary, or whether it's time to let this boundary go. Because as I mentioned, at some point, the boundaries will ebb away, if you will, because you'll realize they weren't even necessary. And after 16 years in ethical non-monogamy, at the end of our ethical non-monogamous relationship with my husband and I think the only thing we had remaining was no children and no animals. Everything else was pretty much had gone by the wayside. They just were not necessary. So, of course, we still use protection. But yeah, a lot of the other boundaries set they didn't make any sense at the end of the day. There's nothing to protect. So that is my excerpt from my book on setting boundaries. And if you haven't got a copy, make sure that you log on to organicloving.com, or you can get it wherever books are sold, both in paperback and Kindle. And if I can assist you and or your partners with regards to your transition through into, you got a bump on the log in the road within your ethically non-monogamous journey, send me a DM. Let me see if I can help you out. And I do offer coaching for both individuals and couples and thruples and triads. So I am here for you. There is no reason to just struggle and figure it out on your own. So I look forward to talking to you guys again. Stay sexy. Bye.